welcome back again. You're watching a W.Media Deep Dive, our exclusive video podcast series. We take a closer look at the cloud and data center industry and connectivity infrastructure. I'm your host, Adam Gibson, and today I'm very delighted with a close buddy of mine, Luke Pescarini, and we're going to talk about very unique worlds of things that he does and the world of Luke and the career progress, ideas, solutions, you name it, we can talk about it here. This is a very special edition for the ANZ W Media team. So let's head into it. So, Luke, firstly, I want to congratulate you. It's an anniversary. It's your 1 year anniversary at your new place of love. And so we want to say, from all the team, congratulations. You've made a milestone 1 year. We know you've been around a few years in the industry. So, obviously they like you, they want to keep you. You're happy, you're excited.
Oh, mate, I'm the luckiest man. I've been very, very fortunate, Adam. And look, before I start, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's my very first podcast, so hopefully I'll perform quite well and maybe get a second gig. But let me say, I am really the luckiest man. I've been very lucky that I've worked in an industry for the last 3 decades that it's provided some great, exciting avenues for me to grow. As I said, three. This is my third great challenge. Rittal is absolutely fantastic. It's a similar role to that I had quite some years ago, and I'm really looking forward to continuing that growth within the retail business. But more for me, it's actually getting close to that Asia Pacific role that I'm doing, looking after Japan, Korea, Taiwan, connecting with the customers in that region. Also, of course, Australia and New Zealand. So really, really good. Love it. So far, been fantastic.
Well, that's good. So let's start with, there'll be a few people on the podcast who won't know you, and I want to try and fix that now so we
All
can
right.
help you out. Give us 1 or 2 minutes about you, and you've obviously said, obviously we know who you are with name wise, and they can find you on LinkedIn, etc. And you said 30 years experience. So give me a couple extra little tidbits about Luke Pescarini.
Currently, I'm the director for Rittal ANZ, the IT business unit, as well as the regional IT business leader for Asia Pacific. Spent quite a number of years helping organisations design, deploy, and scale their IT environments through large scale data centers to small distribution edge developments. Look, as I am a passionate individual, I'm really passionate about bridging that gap between that rapidly growth digital demand and the infrastructure that needs to support them. So, look, again, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to sharing how myself and Rittal's modular approach really can help customers stay agile and prepare for the future.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Obviously, we have, in ANZ, there's been a bunch of developments in your lifetime, and definitely in mine, in this DC cloud IT space where, different components and different vendors all come into play. Give me a unique position on what Rittal is doing in ANZ. What Rittal is all about in regards to this part of the world.
Oh, okay. Look, Rittal has a unique position in Australia, or throughout the world, but definitely in Australia and New Zealand market. We're not just the largest rack manufacturer and provider. We deliver a complete modular ecosystem from enclosures, power distribution, cooling, monitoring. That's where our real value shines. Customers don't need to piece together different components from different vendors. With us, we can give you the full integration engineering solution that's scalable and standardized. So in Australia and New Zealand, look, geographically, distances can, pose some really unique challenges. And that modularity and speed of deployment really makes a real big difference. Whether you're a tier 3 or a 4 data center in Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, wherever, a small edge development in regional areas, they can deliver consistently efficient and with peace of mind.
Now, you've touched base on rack deployment, and that's something that I was very much accustomed to, where the European market was dominated by yourselves, and that was, how you were and how we've sort of known it for quite a few years. It's great to see that, they've hired guns like yourself to develop more products, into markets where we just know we know you for one thing. So having an ecosystem is obviously quite, an interesting play. And when you mention modular infrastructure and things like that, obviously we see that the flexibility is something that the providers want. Whilst they want to try and work with one partner to do X, Y, and Z, sometimes they have to rely on two, three, four partners to get, a better result. How do you go in, this infrastructure of being a modular and a flexible and work with these data center environments?
Look, obviously you've got to work with them from as early as you can. Data centers really no longer do they build to last 20 years in a flexible configuration. So today they need to be agile, and demand also changes overnight, right? With modular infrastructure. So how do we do it? We tend to work with those end users and also their consultants to make sure that we can operate in a scalable phase. It's really about their demand and their risk. Once we get stuck into their design and understanding, then it's all about forecasting and actually letting our production lines know of that forecasting. Obviously, the larger the project, the more integrated we work with those end users, and also our competency centre that we have dotted around the world. We have them in Germany, in India, in China, the US. So there's not just manufacturing a solution. We actually need to understand that customer and what they require. For me, the what I've been seeing, digital demands are really growing fast. Cloud adoption is something. AI workloads, IoT are really pushing infrastructure harder than ever. And to keep up that infrastructure, we really need to be dynamic and obviously intelligent about it. So some of the areas that come up today, it's about scalability, also some standardization, they can really deploy things really fast. That's really, really important. And intelligence. So everyone wants monitoring. It's not just about alarms, but it's also really predictive, understanding what's going to happen moving forward. So there's some of the areas that we touch on that when we're working with those data center providers and hyperscalers and also edge business.
Yeah, look, obviously, you obviously seen some of the questions and answering it all in different pieces. So it helps me stitch this all together. So you mentioned the buzzwords, which is AI, IoT, cloud, things like that. And you mentioned the real-time componentry. It used to be set up, it's got to be agile and nimble. Are you seeing that the larger deployments and the small deployments and all the anything in between from edge to hyperscale has got a consistent involvement, and it's just the working with the end user as quick as possible, but being ingrained with them, as spending time with them? How do you, as a likable character, keep on top of that information? Because obviously you don't just have one customer, you're going to have a bucket load of them. How do you keep involved with supporting them and them supporting you?
I work with 7 different time zones, Adam. Look, it's really staying in touch. For me, it's really I'm learning every day. This industry is moving so fast. Does everyone have the answer? I'd challenge if anyone would say they have the answer of what's happening today. We're learning as we're going along. For me, it's that relationship, as I said earlier, staying in touch, people that I've worked with. Maybe there are some younger ones that I haven't worked with that are coming up through the industry. They're the ones that I get a big buzz of working with because they're learning. I don't know everything, but we do know what's happening in the marketplace to a point. Look, large deployment, how's that coming through? Hyperscalers.
Let's touch on that hyperscale function. Normal locations such as Sydney and Tokyo and the regions that you're focusing on, obviously they're very populated, they're very dense, people want to go more, but how can an edge deployment be focused in, I'm going to say Brisbane, or I'm going to say, Christchurch, or other locations? The hyperscalers come and support, what was a normal location to an edge deployment. How can that be leveraged?
It's not just Sydney, it's Melbourne, as you said, and even other parts in Asia Pacific. That doesn't remove, it's probably edge. We're seeing the increase in that end. The bigger the core data centers get, the more they will need edge sites to support that low latency service in that regional connectivity, but more so keeping some business continuity. That's where edge will help with those big guys. They've been leveraged in a number of ways. As I mentioned earlier, the proximity for the users and devices to ensure that performance for application like IoT, 5G, and any real time analytics. Resilience, obviously, providing that local backup and redundancy in case of the network or cloud is interrupted.
So let's go. Obviously, there's a reason for people choose, multiple facilities, resiliency, redundancy, all the buzzwords around that. Is sovereignty coming into play now for yourselves and for your customers? And are you seeing some changes where they go, we'd love to be in the heart of Sydney or heart of Melbourne because that's where it is, but they're now moving away and getting into more regional locations. Are you seeing any unique changes like that?
We do. Yes, there are some. I guess land is where they can get it. A lot of edge applications that we're seeing today.
I
Are you
don't want
there,
to
Ad?
ask too many secret source questions because I know
you,
obviously people are going to steal your information. So give me a little bit, but don't give me too much,
what is it that you want? Do we have an NDA in place? What else can I tell you? Look, we are working very
Well, let
close.
me go down this path.
We are working very, very close with a lot of the hyperscalers,
Yep.
also the colos, as you're aware, on a global scale. So yeah, there's only so much that I could divulge, of course, but we're seeing a lot of that activity there.
I'll jump in and say, I'll go with this question. Are you seeing, I've heard around the traps that there's a high demand, of people wanting capacity. Are you still saying that there is going to be more and more demand coming into Australia and
Oh,
New Zealand over the next sort of, call it
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 5 years?
Oh, yes. You think about it, right? AI is one of the biggest drivers there. But if I want to take it back a cog, when I talk to people that are not within our industry and they ask the question, what do you do? And I give them as much as I can in letting them know that, we're in the IT infrastructure business for data. They got a bit of a blank look and they ask the question, is it growing? Well, here's a simple way of putting it. Everyone's got a mobile phone and we all have Facebook and Instagram and take photos and text and everything. Where do you think that goes to? It goes to the cloud, it goes somewhere, and we love keeping it. And the more you send information around, the bigger it's going to get. It's not going to stop. I don't have a crystal ball and I can't predict the future, but all I understand is it's just that it's getting bigger and bigger. And in the 30 years that I've been in this industry, I've not been without a job. It's just grown, and technology is doing that.
Saying that you're gonna keep doing this wonderful career that you've got so far and do it till you retire?
Of course. You know what? I tried to retire at one stage, but I guess the friendships and the relationships kept dragging me back in. I tried, didn't work. So who knows when I'm going to retire? I love it. It's great. It's so exciting.
Well, let's make sure we're doing another podcast in 5 years because I know that you'll still be working like a trooper. That's for sure.
Thanks.
I call myself a box hugger, someone who
Uh,
loves to see the hardware in data centers and things like that. And over the years I've spent time in data centers, there's always been different people with colored racks. They have white or beige racks or black racks or blacks with blue doors or red doors or you name it, it comes with it. You've got to tell me, you've seen some racks over the years, you've seen some deployments.
yep.
What is the color of the month? Give me the flavor. If we talk about
Uh,
fashion,
uh,
what rack color we got?
Predominantly, I've seen a lot of black, as you know, right, in
Yeah.
most data centers. It's a fantastic question. I get asked that question. You wouldn't believe how many times we get asked that question by customers. What is our traditional color? The Rittal rack. Well, slightly off-white, light grey. You know what? The technical color is, you ready for this?
Yep,
RAL
give it to me.
7035. So
Right.
it's that white That's what we produce. It's really popular as it reflects the light and enhances that visibility in that data center space. However, we do manufacture different colors depending on the runs. We're flexible with that. Black, yeah, there's a lot of people have black, or a lot of data, and that's I can't remember the RL number. I think it's RAL 9005 or something like that.
Well, I'm gonna say,
What?
if anyone in this podcast is watching this says that's the wrong number, make sure you tag Luke and let him know, because I need to know now.
All right, okay. I'm challenged. All right, okay. Hey, listen, I love being challenged. Look, at the end of the day, from what we see, data centers are evolving. Aesthetics play a big role in their branding. If anyone wants a particular color, look, we're the largest rack manufacturer in the world. So give me a color, and I'm sure I can probably cater for that on long runs, and not a problem. But I'm going to tell you something. The real value in a Rittal rack isn't the color. It's really the engineering behind it. But you know what? People get hooked on a color. So,
Agree. You've got to make. You've got to. Yeah,
it's
data centers
amazing.
got to be sexy, right? They've got to. Got to
Yeah.
have an appeal.
So what color do you want it, I should say?
Right, there we go. That's the.
Mm,
We don't really talk too much about sales, but that's the sales question that
yeah.
Luke can answer it. Obviously, containment and things like that are starting to become a big role. And we go 15 odd years ago, raised floor was the norm, and now it's concrete slab with large amount of containment. With the demand of AI and things like that you're seeing, no doubt you've had to design some really boutique solutions from your global rack deployments to incorporate all kinds of special containment controls and things like that. Has that been again, I don't want your secret information of who it is or anything like that, but do you remember some unique solutions that you've done to support customers that have said, gone with a traditional data center and we've built something out, and
Oh, yeah.
now it's completely wrong and changed and
Oh, yeah. Look, not currently with Rittal. Look, I've started my industry where it was just crack units, computer room air conditioning units. Matter of fact, when I started, they weren't called cracks. They were called precision environmental control units, which controlled temperature and humidifiers. Yes, in the 3 decades, I've seen changes apart from going from that perimeter cooling to what we call the containment hot oil or cold oil containment using in-row or LCP type style units. And probably the last 8 years, I've seen a big demand on change with that high density going for a fan wall type application. And what we're seeing today now is a different change in concept in the requirements, and it's all being driven through server manufacturers. Now, as we're getting into that high density and the AI, there is a number of technologies that are available. A direct to chip is one of them that we are heavily involved in. You've obviously got Submerged. There's others out there. So yes, there is. I'm seeing a combination. I don't believe that it'll all go direct to chip. There will be a bit of a hybrid. As I mentioned, it's all being driven by the server manufacturers. What are we going to get moving down the road? I'd love to have a crystal ball to say this is what it's going to look like in the future.
well, if
But
you have
yes,
that, can you let me know what the
yeah,
numbers are for
yeah,
the
yeah,
Super Bowl?
yeah,
I'd like to
yeah,
retire early.
yeah. No, you don't want to retire, Adam. You got nothing to do then. You'll die young. No,
Oh, I'd buy
no.
a data center for sure.
Uh, if the data center,
Wouldn't we
uh,
all?
if data center owners and providers are listening to us, and you've just said you'd buy a data center, I think they might have a different view. It's a tough
Yeah,
gig. It's a
I
tough
think they're
gig for them.
stressing out.
That's a
Yeah,
tough gig,
absolutely.
right? Even though the market is growing, it must be tough for them to design for today, but also for the future, and to be flexible when there's what's the future going to be. That's the exciting bit.
Well, let's leave the operators out there. If they want to contact you, how to reach you? Well, I mean, obviously, we'll upload this podcast to the social medias of the world, being LinkedIn, etc., and we'll tag you
Mm.
in there. But there's a way to connect through the system that way. I'm sure you're opening
Yeah,
up to LinkedIn these days and
yeah,
using it every day.
yeah. Well, as best as I can. Yes, you can contact me through LinkedIn. Just search Luke Pescarini, Rittal. leave a message. Don't just connect to me, right? Just leave a message. I'm always happy to connect and continue the conversation. Look, you can also visit the Rittal website, which is rittal.com.au. You can find contact details there and also other resource information.
Beautiful. So there you go. So tell them that the W Media team ANZ sent you across, and Luke will give you extra love for sure. So, Luke, it's been an absolute blast. I'm going to wrap this up soon because I know that we're going to get kicked off shortly for talking till the
All right.
cows come home. But thank you. I
No.
looking forward to the second, the third, the fifth time that Luke Pescarini drops in and gives us some wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I'm chuffed that you've asked. It is my first podcast, so hopefully I've made some sense.
Well, make
Thank
sure
you.
you share it to your family. They
Oh
want to
no,
listen to it for
too
sure.
too too embarrassed. They'll be laughing their heads off.
Excellent. Well, thank you. That's been W Media's deep dive again with Luke Pescarini from Rittal, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.